In a mystical realm, the three witches, mothers of all witches, hatched a plan to conquer the entire magical dimension. Their eyes glowed with wicked excitement as they plotted their move. To achieve their goal, they needed the power of the dragon flame. They decided to attack and destroy the kingdom of Domino, where this power resided. As the witches approached Domino, a sense of dread filled the atmosphere. The kingdom, once full of joy and magic, was now engulfed in fear and chaos. The essence of the dragon flame was hidden within a newborn princess named Bloom. The witches decided to kill her to seize the power. They cursed the queen and kidnapped the king, leaving the kingdom in shambles. Their sinister laughter echoed through the shattered palace. But the kingdom was not entirely defenseless. A company of brave warriors and fairies were ready to chase the witches and save their leaders. They followed the witches through a portal into the dimension of darkness, a prison for the wicked. Their hearts were filled with hope and courage. The dimension of darkness was a place of despair and evil. It was a vast, gloomy universe filled with the screams of the damned. The witches were not alone in this realm. They were joined by hordes of other evil beings, all ready to fight the warriors and fairies. The battle was fierce, the warriors and fairies using their magic and strength to fight the evil forces. Their bravery was inspiring. Amid the chaos, the witches were getting closer to baby Bloom. They could almost feel the power of the dragon flame within their grasp. But the warriors and fairies were not going to let them succeed. They fought valiantly, their magic illuminating the dark realm. The witches were powerful, but the combined strength of the warriors and fairies was greater. They were slowly pushing the witches back. As the battle raged on, baby Bloom, unaware of the danger, slept peacefully. Her soft glow was the only light in the dark realm. The witches, desperate, unleashed their full power. The dimension of darkness shook with their fury, but the warriors and fairies stood their ground. The tide of the battle was turning. The witches were losing their strength, while the warriors and fairies were growing stronger. Finally, the witches were defeated. Their screams of defeat echoed through the dark realm, as they were banished to the deepest pits of the dimension of darkness. The warriors and fairies cheered in victory. Their courage and determination had saved baby Bloom and the power of the dragon flame. They quickly returned to the kingdom of Domino. Their return was celebrated by the relieved and grateful citizens. The king was freed, and the curse on the queen was lifted. The kingdom of Domino was slowly returning to its former glory. Baby Bloom was safe and sound, the power of the dragon flame still residing within her. She was the kingdom's hope and future. The three witches were defeated, but their legacy lived on. Their presence was still felt in the magical dimension, a reminder of the evil they once brought. The warriors and fairies were hailed as heroes. Their bravery and sacrifice were remembered and celebrated for generations. The tale of the three witches and the dragon flame became a legend. It was a
Tim's magical quest. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled amidst lush green hills, there lived a young and curious boy named Tim. Tim had a heart filled with compassion and a mind brimming with imagination. He loved going on adventures, exploring the wonders of the world around him. One sunny morning, Tim woke up to find his village in distress. The beautiful river that flowed through the village had dried up, leaving the crops withered and the villagers worried. Determined to help, Tim set off on a quest to find the source of the problem and save his village. Tim embarked on a journey, walking through thick forests and climbing towering mountains. Along the way, he encountered various obstacles, but his bravery and quick thinking always led him through. He met a wise owl who told him about a magical waterfall hidden deep within the enchanted forest. The owl revealed that the waterfall was the lifeblood of the river, and if Tim could unblock it, the water would flow again. With a newfound determination, Tim ventured deeper into the forest. He navigated through winding paths, thick undergrowth, and towering trees. Night fell, but Tim persevered, relying on the moonlight and his courage to guide him. Daybreak saw Tim standing before a towering range of sharp rocks. He knew that beyond these rocks lied the waterfall. Summoning his courage, he embarked on the challenging climb. Despite the treacherous terrain, Tim kept climbing, never losing sight of his goal. His hands were raw and his body ached, but the thought of his village kept him going. After walking like an eternity, Tim reached the top. He was greeted by the sight of a beautiful waterfall, its flow interrupted by a pile of massive rocks. It was indeed an enchanting sight, but the gravity of the task at hand soon overshadowed the beauty. Tim began working on removing the obstructions. He pushed and heaved, but the rocks wouldn't budge. He tried again and again, yet the stones remained immovable. Exhaustion began to set in, but he refused to give up. Just when despair was on the verge of engulfing him, Tim had an idea. He remembered that the villagers used wedges and levers to lift heavy objects back home. However, he had neither a wedge nor a lever. He looked around for suitable substitutes and soon enough he found a sturdy branch and a sharp stone. Using the stone as a wedge and the branch as a lever, he tried his luck at moving the rocks. The rocks moved. The power of simple tools combined with his determination was working. Tim continued his efforts with renewed vigor, heaving the rocks away one by one. Hours passed, and finally, the last rock moved. With a mighty roar, the waterfall sprung to life, cascading down the mountainside and filling the river below. Tim had succeeded. The river would flow again, saving his village. As he descended, the village came into sight. The sight of the river flowing robustly again brought tears to his eyes. The villagers cheered as they saw him, their joy echoing through the hills. The villagers hailed Tim as their hero, thanking him for his bravery and wisdom. However, for Tim, the greatest reward was seeing his village safe and the river flowing freely again. That night, the village celebrated like never before. There was music and laughter, and stories of Tim's adventure were told and retold. The young boy's bravery had not just saved his village, but also brought them closer together as a community. From that day forward, Tim was a living legend in his village. His story was passed down from generation to generation, serving as a reminder of the power of bravery, determination, and quick thinking. Yet, amidst all the fame and glory, Tim remained the same curious and adventurous boy. He continued to explore the world around him, always ready to help whenever the need arose. And every time he passed by the river, he would remember the adventure that had saved his village. Tim's adventure taught the villagers an invaluable lesson. It reminded them of their connection to nature and their dependence on it. The river was not just a source of water but a lifeline, a bond that tied them together and to the land they lived upon. Tim's story remains a beacon of hope and inspiration not just for his village, but for all those who chance upon it. It's a tale that illustrates that no matter how big the problem, determination, courage, and a bit of wit can always save the day. So, as the sun sets on yet another day, Tim gazes at the river flowing peacefully through his village. The water's soothing rhythm is a reminder of his adventure, his accomplishments, and the friendships he had made along the way. His adventures, though fraught with challenges and dangers, taught him virtues of courage, perseverance, and wisdom. These lessons shaped him into a boy loved by all, and a hero revered by generations. His tale continues to inspire, reminding us that we have the power to make a difference, no matter how big or small. Whether it's saving a village or helping a neighbor, each of us has a part to play in the grand scheme of things. The story of Tim is not just a tale of a brave boy saving his village. It's a lesson in courage, determination, and the power of simple ideas. It's a testament to the indomitable spirit of humanity and the strength that resides within us all. As Tim grows older, his adventurous spirit never wanes. He continues his journey of exploration and discovery, always seeking new adventures and more ways to help his beloved village. And so, the tale of Tim, the brave boy and the hero, ensues, inspiring one and all.
Once upon a time in the small town of Pueblo Bonito, there was a little boy named Miguel. Miguel was not your ordinary boy. He possessed a rather peculiar trait. That's right, Miguel was a flatulent boy. Unlike others, his flatulence was not a rare occurrence. It seemed to happen much more often than it should, which earned him the nickname El Niño Flatulento, the flatulent boy. Miguel was a friendly and joyous youth, known for his wide, infectious grin. He loved playing soccer with his friends and exploring the town's dirt roads. Except his innocent mischief was often accompanied by his uninvited friend, flatulence. His peculiar trait made him the center of many jokes. Some children would find it funny and laugh along with him, while others would tease him and make him feel uneasy. However, Miguel was never one to let this dampen his spirit. Miguel's mother, Doña Maria, constantly searched for remedies to help her son. She tried everything, from ancient family recipes to the New Age solutions suggested by the town's doctor, but nothing seemed to help Miguel. One day, while Miguel and his friends were playing soccer near the old church, a new family arrived in town. They had moved from a distant city and were carrying their belongings in an old horse cart. Among the newcomers, there was a girl around Miguel's age named Clara. Miguel couldn't help but notice the ebony-haired girl with sparkling green eyes. Despite his usual jovial nature, he felt a strange shyness creeping upon him. As days passed, Clara began joining the children's soccer games. She was a swift runner and a good sport. Miguel loved her lively spirit, and they soon became friends. However, his flatulence problem remained a constant worry for him. One day, Miguel felt his stomach rumbling during a game. He feared the inevitable and tried to move away from the crowd. But just as he was about to score a goal, it happened. His troubles struck again. Plumes of fragrant air twirled around Miguel, leading to a mix of laughter and coughs. Faces turned red, both in amusement and embarrassment. However, amid all the giggles and finger-pointing, Clara remained impassive. She did not utter a single jest, nor did she distance herself from Miguel. Instead, she patted his back and said, "Don't worry, Miguel. We all have something unusual about us. It makes us unique, right?" Miguel was taken aback by Clara's kindness. No one had ever addressed his issue like that before. It was always either a matter of embarrassment or laughter. That day, Miguel felt a profound respect and fondness for Clara. Inspired by Clara's perspective, Miguel started seeing his peculiar trait in a new light. It was indeed something that distinguished him from others. He began to laugh along with his friends and stopped feeling self-conscious. Meanwhile, Doña Maria hadn't given up. She was determined to find a solution for her son's problem. A visiting healer gave her a rare plant from the deep forest, claiming it had magical properties to cure any ailment. Doña Maria brewed a tea from the plant and gave it to Miguel. The next few days, Miguel seemed to be doing much better. The frequency of his flatulent episodes notably decreased, and he was overjoyed. With the solution seemingly found, Miguel's life returned to normal. He continued enjoying his days with friends, playing soccer, and exploring Pueblo Bonito. His friendship with Clara blossomed, and they became inseparable. However, his flatulence hadn't completely disappeared. It occurred less frequently, but at times when least expected. Miguel had learned to accept it as a part of him and often joked about it, diffusing the tension. Gradually, everyone in Pueblo Bonito grew accustomed to El Niño Flatulento. His trait was seen more as a harmless quirk rather than a nuisance. Even the taunts and jokes lessened, and Miguel was simply seen as Miguel. Years passed, and the children of Pueblo Bonito grew. Clara and Miguel's bond grew stronger with time. His unique trait that once isolated him had brought him a truly understanding friend. In return, Miguel's generous nature and infectious laughter had a profound impact on Pueblo Bonito. He reminded everyone to remain positive and to not let their shortcomings define them, but rather to celebrate them. Eventually, what started as a problem turned into a lifelong lesson for the people of Pueblo Bonito. Everyone learned to accept and love Miguel just as he was, including Miguel himself. Miguel's story was no longer about the boy with unstoppable flatulence. It was about a boy who taught a whole town to love themselves despite their quirks and to find humor in life's unpredictability. Today, if you visit Pueblo Bonito, you'll hear tales of El Niño Flatulento, not as a joke or as an embarrassment, but as an inspirational tale about acceptance, good humor, and friendship. This tale reminds us all that it is our unique traits that make us who we are. Just like Miguel, we all have something that sets us apart, and instead of being embarrassed about it, we should be proud of it. So here's to Miguel, the boy who taught us all to laugh a little louder, love a little harder, and live a little better. Here's to El Niño Flatulento, the flatulent boy, the beloved friend, the heart of Pueblo Bonito. In the tranquil depths of the enchanted sea, 5 mermaids lived harmoniously. They were lovely, young, and free-spirited, gliding with grace among the vibrant coral reefs and weaving through crystal-clear waters filled with sparkling schools of fish. Their days were filled with laughter, songs, and merry games. They danced with the dolphins, exchanged secrets with seashells, and basked in the warm glow of the underwater sun. It was a magical life below the waves. If the surface world had their sunsets, the mermaids had their moon pools, bright, tranquil pockets of sea illuminated by the moon. Here they gathered each night, their melodious voices filling the ocean with captivating songs. One such night, as they swam towards their favourite moon pool, their joyful giggles were silenced by a dreadful sight. A monstrous creature rose from the dark abyss, wrapping them in his slimy tentacles. The creature's eyes were cold, its voice thunderous. It declared that it had been lured by their songs, and now they would serve him in his abyssal lair. Terrified, the mermaids could only stare in disbelief. Dragged through the dark, cold depths by the monster, the mermaids clung to each other. They were brought to a dismal fortress in the heart of the sea, caged by the monster's tentacles. The days turned dark and cold. The once chatty and vibrant mermaids were now silent, their spirits seemingly crushed. Their world had become one of fear and sorrow, enslaved by the monster. They missed the warmth of the sunlit reefs, the schools of colourful fish, their moon pool, and most of all, their freedom. As the monster gloated in their misery, the mermaids knew they had to act. Compelled by their longing for home, they hatched a plan. Utilizing their quick thinking and teamwork, they began to whisper sweet, enchanting lullabies, the same ones that had lured the monster. The monster listened, entranced by their songs. The lullabies were so soothing that the monster's grip on them began to loosen. Their plan seemed to be working. As the monster drifted into an enchanted slumber, the mermaids started to untangle from the loosened tentacles. It was a delicate task, requiring patience and precision, but the mermaids worked together seamlessly. Once free from their slimy prison, the mermaids quietly swam towards the exit. Their hearts pounded wildly as they navigated the twisted tunnels of the monster's lair, ever fearing that it would awaken. They finally emerged from the dark tunnels, seeing the open sea at last, but their joy was short-lived as they felt the rush of water behind them and heard the monstrous roar of the awakened creature. The monster, enraged by their betrayal, surged after them, sending waves crashing. The mermaids, driven by fear and the desire for freedom, swam faster than they had ever before. The chase was a strenuous battle of wills. The monster's monstrous roars echoed around them, but the mermaids kept on, their strength waning but their spirits undeterred. They were so close yet so far. Just when they thought they could swim no more, a loud, thunderous clash resonated from behind. The monstrous roars had suddenly quieted, replaced by an eerie silence. They turned to see what had happened. A great seawall had collapsed onto the monster, trapping it under the weight of countless boulders. The monster's reign of terror had ended, leaving the mermaids a clear path to freedom. The mermaids breathed a sigh of relief as they swam freely back to their sea home. The terrible ordeal was over, and they were stronger and more united than ever before. They found their once vibrant home a little dimmer, a little quieter, but with their return, the ocean seemed to breathe a sigh of relief, and all the creatures welcomed them with joy. They shared their tale with the ocean, and their bravery was applauded far and wide. Their adventurous spirit and undying hope became legendary, tales that the sea would whisper to the moon. The sea was their home once more, safe from the tentacle monster. They rebuilt their lives, stronger and happier, their bonds deepened by the ordeal. They sang their songs this time, songs of triumph. The mermaids were united by their shared experiences and shaped by their adventure. They became the guardians of the ocean, protecting it from any harm. The enchanted sea flourished under their watch. The once terror-stricken mermaids became symbols of courage, their tale inspiring generations, and while the memory of the monster still brought shivers, it also served as a reminder of their resilience. Their tale echoed through the ages not as a tale of victimhood, but of empowerment and freedom. The mermaids, once prisoners, were now warriors, protectors of the enchanted sea. The 5 mermaids continued to fill the sea with their enchantments and laughter. They swam freely once more, their hearts filled with joy, their spirits unbroken, their freedom reclaimed. And so, the enchanted sea remained a haven of beauty and freedom, echoing with the triumphant songs of the mermaids. Their tale was woven into the heart of the sea, a testament to their undying spirit. Once upon a time in a small town lived a sweet, innocent child named Lucy. Lucy was different, finding great joy in her imaginative fantasies. Little Lucy loved watching her family gather around the television. She saw how it captivated everyone's attention and how everyone cared for it. This gave her a unique idea. One evening she wrote down her bizarre wish in a school essay. She wanted to become a television set. Lucy wanted to stand in the place of the television. It had a special place, and around it the family gathered, chattering and laughing. Lucy fantasized about being the center of attention, her words listened to with keen interest, uninterrupted and unquestioned. Her wish was not just to be heeded, but also to be taken care of like the TV, especially when it broke down, almost as if it were a family member. She wished for her father to spend time with her when he got home, even when he was tired, just as he does with the television. Lucy wanted her mother to turn to her when she was lonely or bored. instead of ignoring her. She presumed that transforming into a television could bring her closer to her brothers and would break the ice of indifference. When Lucy's student teacher, Mrs. Martha, was going through the essays, Lucy's essay astounded her, and her eyes welled up. She read it to her husband, Mr. Peter, who also found himself very moved by the essay. They realized the profound loneliness hinted at in Lucy's essay. The reality it reflected painted a heartbreaking picture of Lucy's life. The couple decided to talk to Lucy's parents about this. They felt that Lucy's emotions were being overlooked amidst the family's busy routines. The next day, they invited Lucy's parents for a friendly chat at their house. Surprised, concerned, and a bit puzzled, Lucy's parents agreed. When Lucy's parents arrived, Martha and Peter shared Lucy's essay with them. As they read it, their expressions turned from shock to sorrow. They couldn't believe that Lucy felt so ignored and yearned for the attention dedicated to a television set. They were genuinely distressed. Lucy's parents resolved to change their behaviour. They pledged to give more time and attention to Lucy, to include her more in their lives. Thankful to Martha and Peter for opening their eyes, they now understood the deep impact their actions had on their little girl's life. From that day onwards, everything changed in Lucy's home. Her wish to become a television set had worked a miracle. Her father would include her in his daily activities. He shared stories from work, and they made it a point to play games together. Her mother would also seek her company when she was lonely or bored. She taught Lucy how to cook, sew, and other household chores. Lucy's brothers also started interacting with her more. They played together, watched TV together, and gradually Lucy felt included. One day, Lucy's family decided to spend the whole day together, right from the morning to the starlit night, just like a holiday. That day, they played games, went for a picnic, and talked about so many things. It was a day Lucy would cherish forever. Lucy felt that her wish had truly come true. She was now living a happy life, full of attention, love, and care, just like a TV. This experience taught Lucy's parents a valuable lesson. They understood the importance of personal interaction and the detrimental effects of neglecting it. They decided to make sure that their home was not just a place to live, but a space where everyone felt loved, valued, and included. Miss Martha heard about the changes in Lucy's family from Lucy herself. She felt proud and happy for the little girl. Lucy's essay wasn't just a peculiar child's imagination anymore. It had become a catalyst for a beautiful transformation. Since then, Lucy's essay has been a reminder to everyone in the town. It taught them the importance of family and the need to pay attention to the feelings of young ones. The story of the living TV became a legend in the town. Everyone learned that every voice, no matter how small, was important and needed to be heard. Lucy, now known as the living TV girl, became a symbol of change and empathy. Her peculiar fantasy had led her family to a path of understanding and togetherness. From that day onwards, the television set was no longer just an object in Lucy's house. It was a symbol of something much more significant: love, attention, and respect. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. The change in Lucy's family was remarkable. They made sure to always make time for each other, no matter how busy their days were. Family game nights every Friday became a tradition. Lucy's father started reading bedtime stories to her, something she used to only dream about. They often laughed and cried together through the magic of stories. For Lucy, these were the best parts of her day.